Welcome to Sound Podcast, where we are anything but silent. I am one of your hosts here for the Squid Game, the challenge. For Squid Game, the challenge. And my name is Mark, and I'm here as always, the one, the only, Sarah Garrity. How are you?
Scissors.
Yeah?
Scissors.
Oh, man, I'm sad. We're at the end of the show.
I'm sad, and I can't wait to get to talk about that last game because there has been not controversy, but so many. I loved it. I gasped when they announced what it was. I gasped. And I thought,
laughed.
how
I literally laughed.
Brilliant.
I laughed so hard.
Absolutely brilliant. And other people going, me, disappointing. Anticlimactic. No. It went on too long.
What they did with it was was a pretty good climax, but for me personally, I was not the most whelmed by it, but that's just my take.
Did you want a Squid Game? Did you want them to beat each other to death in the rain?
Well, I mean, obviously, like that's what you always want, right? I mean, like, but it was just so funny because like before, like 2 hours earlier, amazing episode of Survivor. Then watching an amazing episode of Amazing Race. I'm like, cool, and I'm like, okay, all right, but yeah, it's all good.
Well, we can talk about it. I loved it. I thought it was perfect.
I'm happy with the results. I'm just, but we're going to, obviously, if you haven't watched episodes 9, 10, or the documentary afterwards, we will be talking about all three of those things in pretty explicit detail. Watch it, pause us, whatever you want to do. If you're here in the chat, say hi. We love to talk. That's why we podcast, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. Because what we have to say is so interesting.
It is. It really is. And that's the most important thing. Sometimes knowing you're interesting is very important.
Yeah.
So we're talking about episodes 9 and 10 today. Episode 9, Circle of Trust. And episode 10, One Lucky Day. And also the documentary, Making of the Squid Game, the Challenge. All very simple names. One of them is exactly the same as a TV show. But awesome. Let's dive right into episode 9. We see my number 287 is still distraught after everything that just happened after losing her dear sweet Chad. Oh, should we talk about the thing that we both rewatched before we get going?
Let's talk about it at the end because that's 2 montages back to back. The end montage and then back to the beginning montage.
That is true. That is very true. So Maya's distraught. And 278 Ashley says she can no longer hide being a facade of a sweet lady. Like Maya can't hide anymore about being a nice sweet lady. That's not harmless.
Well, I would say you can no longer rely on your prejudices, not just 287 Ashley, but everybody. That little older Asian lady wasn't a threat. You all decided that. She never said she wasn't a threat. No. You decided it. Your racism, your ageism, and your sexism are showing, Ashley, and others. And we all, listen, we all have it. I'm not accusing that person or those players in particular. We all have inbuilt, learned attitudes that we have to really be conscious to root out. And one of them is that little older Asian lady would be no threat.
We learned she is
threat.
We've already learned she's a threat. Like
she never said she wasn't. That's the thing.
Yeah, but like in the show,
Ashley says, "Oh, you can't hide." Well, she was never hiding. You know,
she was just chilling with Chad.
She was right there, chilling with Chad.
And his Vespa.
I mean, I do have an objection to her going for Ashley because what Ashley did didn't affect her at all. But I guess she just decided it was. I can't remember now if we said this about the dice. You know, she decided that it was an affront to Big J justice. But as far as what Ashley did, it didn't. She did take a turn, and it didn't affect anything that was going to happen to Mai because Mai was always going to get a free ride. But anyway, that's in the past.
I mean, we're on episode 9. That was episode 8.
Yes.
And so it was episode 7. But more importantly, at this present moment, Roland, number 418, asks if Mai wants to join them because she's like very much distraught in the corner and watch like the tally go up. Roland is a very good positive energy that we are going to get a lot more of. And he trusts Mai, which is incredibly important.
Don't let people be sad in a bed by themselves. Even if you don't like them, go and get them. They're a person.
Exactly. There's only 9 of y'all left in a
Exactly.
room. At least offer to let them be there, Um, and then we get more of Hallie, and she realizes that she has to be more careful around Mai. This is gonna be we're gonna be talking a lot about Mai for the next hour for those that don't realize that yet.
Yeah. So if you don't want to hear us say my, switch off now.
Probably every third sentence, honestly.
Mhm.
So then we get
I
a
started
convention.
to think that my prediction at the end of the last
Yeah,
episode, I thought, "Oof, wobbly, looking wobbly."
I didn't, honestly. I really didn't. I felt pretty sturdy in that prediction.
Mhm.
But we'll get there. I'm always a cockeyed optimist. I'll admit that in a heartbeat. But she works for the Department of Homeland Security here in America, where she is an adjudicator and reviews F1 visas. And she wants to help as many immigrants as possible, as she was an immigrant at one point. And she tries to let the emotions get to the best of her, which, that's very important, like, to in that kind of job and this kind of situation. So, yeah.
Yes, I mean, a lot of loss in her life, as we said. I think this is why losing Chad, it does look, someone could accuse it of being an overreaction, but the losses that she has suffered and the abandonment that she suffered, which we're going to find out about, I feel we've had hints of before,
Mhm.
is going to make that sort of reaction in this high pressure situation be completely understandable.
Exactly. So we cut to the bathroom where 418, Roland 016, Sam, and 451 are talking, and they're pretty tight. And Sam says that they were always going to nominate themselves, and he does not fault Mai for playing the last game the way she did. Only person that can is Ashley. And I love that about Sam. Sam is one of the more level headed players in the whole 456 people, I'd say.
I agreed.
Yeah. Which is impressive considering he's had a very hard sack life, it seems like.
Hmm.
Uh, so Mai feels alone at this point. She doesn't feel like she can trust anyone. And then we get to the nighttime happens, and there's a wake up call, and then there's just no music. And we have people getting ready. And Roland asks Mai if she ever braids her own hair, as he is getting his hair braided by her. It's a nice little character moment of seeing her and Roland interact, making closer bonds. I think bonds are incredibly important still in this point of the game.
Well, there's so few of them. I mean, and also we've seen Roland with his space buns and various braid situations, and it's nice to have the revelation of who's actually been doing it for him
Yeah.
at this late stage. A nice revelation.
Uh-huh. And Phil says to Sam that they are both lucky as they are a pair, and Roland and Maya are a pair, and Ashley is also with Phil and Sam, and that, like, it's really cool that the game has come down to basically pairs, it feels like.
Hmm.
And Phil says like chemistry is very important with teammates, he puts that in quotes, because he knows they're all against one another, especially at this point in the game.
I mean, it's the pointy end, literally.
Yeah. I mean, it's like literally like everything that you have to do at this point in the game is just trust and hope that you're good, while
Yes,
also knowing that that other person wants to take you out. But
yes,
also knowing when they want to take you out is also important too.
and also having been taught that you could do absolutely everything right,
Mhm.
and luck can take you out, or a split-second choice can take you out. So you partly have your fate in your own hands, you partly have it in the hands of your fellow players, and it's partly in the universe, which is the producers of the show, of
Mhm.
all the preset decisions that the producers took months and months and months ago are now affecting you,
Yeah.
will now affect you. Yeah.
So Maya's talking to Sam to try to set the record straight about her and Ashley. And honestly, like, I think it goes mostly well. Like, they're being very mature about this conversation between Sam and Mai. He's still uneasy about her, of course, and he needs to be smarter about her because no one really fully trusts Mai at this point of the game.
Mhm.
And she realizes that she actually has to have that same conversation with Ashley, even though she is not a team player for her.
Yeah. She she showed too much of her hand, perhaps she feels.
Mhm. So then we get okay. This chat that I'm about to bring up feels a little bit like flirting to me. I feel like Hallie 355 or Roland, they were kind of flirting, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I was like, I couldn't have just
It was
maybe like
very cute. It was very cute.
they're also like 1 year apart in age. I looked up like she's 24, he's 23, and they're adorable, cute little like punk kids.
They've come a long way. I
Yeah.
mean, they've all been through a lot, as we're about to see.
Yeah.
They've all been through a lot to get where they are now.
And she talks about like how she came to Squid Game and meet people. She talks about she had a good childhood, but spent most of the time trying to prove herself. She is a twin and is best friends with her twin, but they're very, very opposite people.
Mhm. But she says they're always compared with each other and
Mhm.
they're always set up against each other. So, I mean, and I completely understand that. So here she is doing something that distinguishes herself
Yeah.
from her twin, even had she not got this far. But now she's final 9. It's pretty amazing.
Like in my mind, like Hallie's twin sister, I'm gonna call her Haley just because it makes like it's always like very similar like that, is like straight up like a sad gothic girl. Because like
Yeah.
Hallie feels very sweet and bubbly.
She says they're completely opposite. So,
Like
sure.
like just very cliche, like just the polar opposite. Like, but yeah.
Mind you, if they wanted to guarantee casting, they should have applied together.
Can you imagine in season 2 they have her twin sister Haley?
Brilliant.
That'd be
Brilliant.
amazing. Someone's like, hey, and give her the same number.
Yes.
Oh, that'd be so great.
Especially if it's goth version.
Yeah.
Haley goth. Yes.
So then we get to this chat between Maya and Ashley, and they're having a chat. And,
Very interesting chat.
okay.
They both knew what they were saying.
Yeah. Like what they
Yes.
were saying is the correct thing to say.
Yes.
It
Because
was
Ashley accepts her explanation. Accepts her receives. She receives her apology.
Yeah.
I have received your apology.
It's one of those chats where like y'all aren't gonna get along for the next 36 hours, but
Yes.
once 36 hours and 1 minute happens, y'all are fine. Like
Yeah.
once the game is over, you're fine.
Yeah.
And like
But
if you
they've
see that- yeah,
posted photos together
exactly.
and when we get to it, you know, there was Ashley's response to to the live showing, you know, of the finale. So, you know, I think they're fine.
I think mostly cast is fine, honestly.
Yeah,
From what I've gathered, yeah. Even that bastard 65.
I think 65 and Tim, no.
They're horrible human beings and they deserve the fire.
They don't deserve anything. Everybody else is fine.
Justice for Starlo, right?
Yeah.
Our winner.
432's already been cast on another reality show.
Really?
But you know, we'll get to the where they 432.
Yeah.
Brighton is already on another reality show.
What show?
Something. Not The Challenge, which is where I thought he would go.
Really?
I'll look it up while you give a bit of narration.
Okay. Yeah, because like at this point right now we have to talk about because the door's open. And guards come in, tell them to get ready for the next game. And then we see the beautiful, gorgeous stairs another time. And I love watching them walk in. And like just see like the camera swooping everywhere. And they walk into that. I think it's like the game prep hall, the white room. And we see a circle with desk chairs, like student desks, like with the chair and the desk attached to it. And we see a podium in the middle. And there's a little black box on there. And the rules of the game, the game is called Circle of Trust, like the episode. And the rules of the game are simple. One person is tapped on the shoulder to go into the middle while everyone's blindfolded. And then they present a package on someone's desk. And if they guess correctly, if that person that gets a package guesses correctly, the person in the middle selected goes away. Like I'm describing this bad, aren't I?
You're getting there.
So, all right. So basically, what happens is the person that gives a gift.
Yes.
If they give it to someone, and then that person guesses that correct person gave it to them, then that person that gave the gift is gone. Now,
Correct.
if I gave Sarah the gift,
yes,
and she guesses not me, she's gone.
Correct.
But if she guesses me, I'm gone. Wow, it would have been so much easier just to be smart. Be like, if I gave a gift to Sarah.
Yes. I don't mind you using me. Brighton is on a game called Perfect Match.
Okay.
Season 2.
Oh,
I don't know what that is.
show.
Is that
Um,
a dating show?
yeah, it's they had like a lot of people from the circle on it, and Too Hot to Handle, of course, and um a couple other shows. But all right, okay, good for him. He's a good looking
I
guy.
would have thought the challenge would be a better place for him, but, you know, Brighton's, reality, television career has only just started, so I'm sure he'll get there eventually.
I'm sure he'll be doing push-ups with their bros on a perfect match any
Yeah, yeah,
moment
I'm
now.
sure. Yeah, of
Uh,
course.
but so the rules are all stated. Everyone gets them. It's better than how I just stated them. And they all put their blindfolds on, and then all the judges walk around the circle, tap on my shoulder, and
And this is from numbers pulled out of a bag, so this
yeah,
is a not predetermined, order of people, going, because there's going to be 6 rounds,
yeah.
and
So
someone is guaranteed to go each round.
and she's really smart about this. Like she does not
Oh,
want to choose
that's so
Ashley because
brilliant.
like obviously Ashley's going to choose her. Like it's just
Yes.
obvious
Yeah.
because they hate each other for another 35 more hours.
Mhm.
So she chooses 418 Roland, the guy whose hair she braided in the morning.
Her best friend left in the game.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
and
Brilliant.
he is like pretty inquisitive, and he's like, "Hey, Mai, it can't be you." And she's like, "Yeah, I just braided your hair." And like he's like, "That sounded rehearsed, but I believe you." Uh, and so yeah, he there's a little bit of laughter happening, and then he chooses 051, which is Rose, and then he's gone. The first person in this game eliminated is dear sweet Roland, the man who saved lots of lives in that bridge. Um,
Yes, because it was
good
his idea.
energy.
It was his idea to
Yeah.
well, he was the one that vocalized the idea of each of them taking one step.
Not the
Um,
most popular idea, but you know,
well, it's what happened
yeah,
essentially, other than, you know, 301, suffering. But, I think Maya's fantastic at the like, great.
yeah,
Great decision. It killed her. She cried, but
absolutely.
great decision.
So uh I love how throughout this game, Barbara Seville is playing every time that they like put their blindfolds on.
Mhm.
Like the music selection of the show is just brilliantly
So good.
operatic,
So
or
good.
yeah, it just I love the combination of opera and children's games and like the
Mhm.
darkness, like the weird dark comedy of what Squid Game is.
Yes.
So next chosen is Hallie, and she chooses 019, Amanda, our friend from Liverpool. And Amanda goes down so like for those that don't know, this game is very, very similar to like a Mafia or a Werewolf. I'm sure they have those games also where you are, Sarah, right? Have you heard of those games?
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
It's a very, very simple version of
yeah.
that.
It's
And
actually
Roland sort of set the scene by going around and eyeballing everybody. He didn't just stand in the middle and declare a number. He went round and looked at people and spoke to them and saw if they avoided his eyes or not.
yeah.
And so he really set the tone for what people who are selected are going to do from now on.
And what's also I really want to shout out because friend of some podcasts, friend of mine in real life, Jordan Kalish, who runs a million Mafia games, created a role in Mafia that's very similar to this called Killer Miller, where if you get killed by a Killer Miller, you can guess who they are, and if you guess correctly, you're in, they're out. And it's, like he would tweet about like, yeah, like copy my idea. Yeah, it's just I don't know. Shout out to Jordan Kalish always. I love that guy. Um, so Amanda uses the tactic that I tend to use a lot where you read body language, but you also read clothing. And she thinks that Maya's clothes are like looks different. Like it looks different. And,
Yes.
um,
She was tucked in before, but she can't tell if she's tucked in
yeah.
now.
And Hallie is pretty suspicious in this, in general. And so she chooses Phil. So Amanda is gone. Um, what a fun, awesome feminist lady from Liverpool. Um,
Mhm. She
V's
was
best
really
friend.
the architect of the Women's Alliance.
Uh-huh.
Sam is very interesting in this. As the rounds go on, he just looks shiftier and shiftier, which is not his normal demeanor. His normal demeanor is very steady.
I
Um,
do wonder if that's because it's bright in there. Like, I do wonder because it's so
Maybe.
bright. He's like,
Yes. If he's doing it deliberately, it's not. It's very subtle.
yeah. And we'll soon realize a very important thing does not happen to Sam in this round, in
Yes.
this game. So
Free
Elliot,
ride. Free ride, right?
pretty much, Elliot is chosen next, which is 429, and he wants to take out Mai. Like, he doesn't care. He wants to take out Mai, and he chooses Mai. And then she starts talking to us about about being an adjudicator and how it makes things easier for her, especially this kind of situation where she's like trying to read body language while she's up there trying to figure out who just tried to kill her. And man, Elliot looks so
He looks
guilty.
so guilty. Like,
So
you don't have
guilty.
to be Mai to figure out who did it.
Like, you don't have to be like, you don't have to be an amazing like DHS member. You just have to see a guy like, no, I didn't do it.
Ooh, wish I had chosen anybody else.
And so he gets chosen very quickly as being a very, very obvious attempted at killing Mai. But you know what?
But it
Elliot was
looks like
great.
magic. It looks like magic to the other players when she is the first to select correctly who the
Yeah.
killer was.
And that's the end of our London alliance because B, Amanda, and Elliot were all part of that London alliance that was mentioned once. So everyone is like terrified of Mai at this point, like legit terrified of Mai. And then 051, Rose, whom we've seen a little bit. She's the religious lady who cried a little bit on the bridge. That's pretty much her whole arc at this point. And she's chosen.
She's been sort of noticeably there for the latter
Her hair
half
is
of the
very
episode.
easy to see. Like, it's
Yes.
red afro.
Yes.
She seems like a very sweet human being. And she chooses Phil because she doesn't know Phil. Okay, Sarah, I love Phil. I truly love Phil. This is like when I realized that Phil is like my like one of my favorite.
Yes.
Like, just watching him and Terry people, he's like pointing at everyone like, it's you, or is it you? And I'm like, oh man,
you're brilliant. He does it so confidently and then looks completely surprised when he's correct.
Yeah.
So I think that we should go to Hawaii and get Phil to teach us how to scuba dive.
Oh my god, I would love to do that. It looked like so much fun and so scary at the same time. I never dived before.
Oh, diving's wonderful.
Like, it's fun. I'm from Miami and I've never dived.
Oh, get to Hawaii, get Phil to teach you.
Okay, I got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because I live in New York doesn't mean
he and I are the same because we're not there yet. But at one point he said all his life he's worked, lived paycheck to paycheck. It's like, hey Phil, me too. I've been working since I was 15.
Yeah.
Which is nearly 50 years ago now. And I've always lived paycheck to paycheck. It's fine. It's a way of life. You learn how to do it.
It's exactly how I've been doing also.
Yeah.
So I get it.
It's fine. A lot of the world does it. Don't cry. It's fine.
It's what it is. Just, find happiness in how you can.
Yeah.
Which is
which is what he's found. He looked so happy in his neon scuba suit, his sort of graffiti scuba suit at the end. Sorry, I'm jumping. We love, in case you hadn't noticed, we love Phil.
We'll be talking about Phil a lot more in this episode.
We love them. Yes.
They're so fantastic. So next chosen is Ashley. And like Mai, she does not want to put the present on Mai, and wants to put on the desk to someone she's more familiar with. So she chooses someone she's very allied with.
Yes. Phil.
And
despite the fact that he just fingered the right person.
Yeah. And there's no way in hell Phil has not had a murder mystery night. The way he's eating this up. They're such great television. I love it. And
they are amazing. I don't really necessarily want them on another reality television competition show, but I'd love to watch them on a come dive with Phil. Let's walk in the forest with Phil. Just spend time with Phil.
Let's just smoke weed with Phil. Oh my god, that'd be great.
Oh, yes. I'm sure he doesn't, but we could introduce him to the weed. Yes.
Of course. Hi Valencia. We see you there.
Hi Valencia.
How are you?
Hey fam.
All right. So Phil is just a freaking rock star. And they tell Hallie it must be hard not to be the person with the most beautiful hair in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And they just make a freaking meal out of this whole thing. And they reiterate that this person is a good person that they're about to choose. And they choose Ashley. And they're correct.
And they look surprised.
Yeah. And Sam is like, oh. Sam is just a reacting character for most of the show.
Yes.
Either they're there giving people hugs or they're like, oh. And it's just insane seeing how great Phil handles Circle of Trust. Then we get the last person is chosen, and the guards circle.
It's like this is going to be the final 3 after this move.
Yeah. Because all we have left is Hallie, Phil, Sam, and I. And the guards like circle and we get that cool overhead shot. And then Hallie takes off her mask. And that box is right there.
And we didn't see who put it there.
It's so good. I love it.
For the only time we didn't see who put it there.
And Hallie is actually having a really hard time trying to figure this out because, like, yeah, it's just hard because
final 3 is right in her hands. If she picks correctly, she gets final 3. It's all her now. Her entire fate is in her own hands.
And she notices that Maya is shaking. But like Maya says that she is literally always shaking because like it's clearly very
and
cold
she actually
there.
is shaking. She holds out her hands. And I was thinking, whoever isn't Hallie or her twin Haley, they could have been swapping out, every night. We don't know. And who isn't the person who put the box must be sitting there knowing they're in the final 3. Because if they get selected, it's wrong, and Hallie goes. They don't get selected. So 2 people, and I was so fascinated by this. And such a great decision to not show us who it was. And I thought 2 of you know for a fact you're in the final 3. So how is your demeanor going to be?
It's interesting because I never noticed any change in A1.
No. They were all of them were very good.
All 3 of them were pretty much the same.
I mean, other than 222, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
I think everybody else has been practicing one thing or another. For Brighton, it was the physical side of things. He was practicing for a game that never came. It's like his tragedy. But I think other people have been practicing various things, balance, marbles, mafia games. I mean, anything.
And it makes sense. I mean, like I think the thing that makes the most fun thing about Squid Game is it's intense drama with a nice touch of comedy while people are dying playing literally kids games.
Yes, it's perfect.
So after a little bit and just pure tension, she chooses Mai, and there's just the most absurd dramatic strings happening, and then we just get the voiceover saying 355 is out. And we find out that Phil is the one that put it on 355. Oh,
so brilliant.
So good.
And did you notice that Phil and Sam left the room holding hands?
Yeah, they
held hands a few times.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel romantic. It feels very, very brotherly. Sort of, siblingly.
Yeah. Sorry, that's probably the best word. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's definitely like, it's more like we get along type.
It's a friendship thing. Yeah, it's a friendship thing.
And then they go back to the dorm. And the dorm literally has 3 beds. And Sam says it looks like the water levels rose up. And it really does. It really does. And Sam asks, who eliminated Roland? And Mai lied.
Not very well, it has to be said.
Not well, yeah. I think
because she had to figure out somebody who was eliminated who picked the wrong person.
Yeah.
She can't just go to someone who was eliminated because they were picked.
Yeah.
She lands on Amanda, but it takes her too long to do it.
It's actually, in my personal opinion, the one time she really falters this episode.
Yes.
And pretty much only
Agreed.
Like it's tricky though, because like you're getting closer to the $4.56 million. So your brain's like, oh my God, it's like I can almost taste it. But also you want to lie correctly.
Yes.
Especially when Phil like eliminated 1/3 of the people there.
Yes. So it's after she eliminates Roland first, it's all very well for us to sit here and say it. But Mark, when you get on season 2, after you're safe at the Circle of Trust, look for somebody who couldn't guess who eliminated them and pick that name.
Yeah.
Try and remember to do that while remaining completely dispassionate, while playing the game.
While trying not to shit myself.
While trying not to shit yourself, while trying to keep your clothing tucked in correctly. Yes, exactly.
I mean, it's part of the reason why I like my hair is just a giant ball.
Yes.
Basically, it's just easier that way, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So they all we get to see the money get added, and that is literally the end of that episode.
Yes, there are perfect stepping stones too. Sam's
Yeah.
so tall, Phil's tall as well, and then little Mike.
I think they're like 5'8".
Wonderful.
They look to be about 5'8" in my mind.
Yes, I think they're
because Mike cannot be taller than 5 foot.
Yes, I think they are, because I feel like they're shorter than me, and I'm just under 6.
Yeah, I remember that when I saw you, and I was too anxious to say hi to you because I'm like, I can't, Sarah, I don't want to say hi. I told you that I told you that. I was like, I was intimidated. I wasn't intimidated. I was just like, I was like, I don't know. I just because like at that point we had interaction on Twitter. I'm like, I'm a fan of you, and I'm like, I don't want to be like, ah, you know. I don't know.
Sure. Everybody, just let's let go of fear. I think if one thing Squid Games teaches us, just let go of fear. Just do.
Yeah.
But I am tall. For those of you who've never seen me in person, that's one thing that people say when they meet me at live events is, I recognize your voice and you're very tall.
It's very tall.
You know I'm sitting down. You know I'm sitting down when I podcast. So
we're now in episode 10. One Lucky Day.
Oh, so
good. There are parts of it that I love. There's more that I love than I don't love in this episode. I'll say that. I mean, they can't believe I feel like they faltered a little bit at the end, but whatever. We'll get there.
Okay.
So Sam calls Phil his best friend and doesn't know what to expect from Mai, and that makes him very uneasy. And Sam and Phil have a final two. Mai says that she is vulnerable, and she knows that she's on the outs, and she does not trust Phil. Her read is amazing, and it's also like really fascinating that like how they're showing this, because you see Mai by herself in the dorm while you see the two others in the restroom like having this conversation. So it looks like no one's talking to Mai at all. And for all we know, it's B-roll, but it's just
Yes, they're indicating the actual truth, if not the physical truth of where people are in the room.
So
it's a big room. It's a big room, and the noises are very loud, right?
And we have this is a thing I did love. I will say this. I love this.
The montage?
The montage was amazing. Because it's all black and white except for Mai, Phil, and Sam. And you see Sam in the background, like every shot.
He's been there all along, right?
It's like that tree that you just don't notice.
They go right back to red light, green light. They go through a wonderful montage of moments, partly games, some of the social stuff, some embracing, marbles, and either Mai, Phil, or Sam are in all the shots. They are in color, and everybody else is in a very soft black and white. It's
astounding.
It's genius.
Astounding. It's beautiful. It's like it reminds you of this insane journey we've had the last few weeks, you know?
Yeah, plus those people's place in that journey.
Yeah.
See, they were there right in red light, green light. You just couldn't pick them out of 456 other people.
I mean, there's a lot of tall people with beards.
Yes.
There's a lot of short people with long hair.
He did have the best beard. Saving your presence, Mark.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Sam does have the best
I'm
beard.
mad I did not apply to the show. I will be applying for season 2.
Yes. We'll get there as well.
Yeah. So the doors open. Guards enter with the 3 boxes, and Sam. This is like Sam's biggest moment, I feel like, in the whole show. He's like, those are the tuxedos.
I mean, they've used, and Valencia, who's here with us in the chat, pointed out that the teddy grabber, as the makers called it, we called it the claw machine, but was referred to in the making of as the teddy grabber, was a nod to the present. And before that episode aired, or the making of aired, Valencia had also tweeted, oh, I get it. And I hadn't noticed that myself. So that was a fantastic take. But also both the present that they were putting on each other's desks on Circle of Trust and the tuxedos are wrapped like the gift, the box with the red ribbon. the pinky red ribbon.
It's so fantastic. Like
So
the
good.
production design is so beautiful and so smart. It's
Yes.
so intentional to get it correct. Even it makes me so happy. So Phil talks about how they've all they have bounced around jobs, and has been living paycheck to paycheck and wants to pay people back. And it's like, I really love Phil's energy. Phil, okay, honestly, I've already reached out to like 4 people that played Squid Game to see if they want to talk about their game. Phil's one of the people I reach out to. So hopefully we'll be talking
what
to
did
Phil.
they say?
No response yet, but I reached
right.
out to Phil, Felicia, Mai, and Ashley. So
Wonderful.
I want to reach out to B, but I'm intimidated because I feel like everyone wants her on their podcast.
So reach out to B. What have you learned? Be fearless.
Fair.
The thing is, if they say no or they don't answer, you're in exactly the same position as if you didn't ask them. So what have you lost? Nothing.
All right, I'll reach out to B.
Yay, B. But not the bees. Not Rick's bees. I don't want Rick's bees on the podcast. Just B. Just B.
Just one bee. Very nice British bee. So they have the tuxedos on, and like they're gonna have a nice big feast from the show. And
that dinner party setting was incredible.
So
absolutely.
It's like why I love Korean content so much, like stuff like that, like the like juxtaposition of like what we've been through, and then just seeing that beautiful class. I'm like, oh.
And they're eating underneath the money. It's like in the same room as the money. So no, they didn't go into the game room. This is like definitely dinner, although there is a game to come. No treat without a trick, says Phil.
Yeah.
But they are in the same room as the money, which is like fantastic.
And like they were having like really cute small talk, like Phil's time like fake stabbing people. And like Mai says that Sam is closed off. And you definitely see Sam is like very focused in a different way than he has been.
Yes.
Then we get like a really sad confessional from Sam where he's talking more about his life in Idaho, growing up in a really sad, toxic situation, and coming out, and the nasty, hateful emails from his mom that just never really stopped for a while. And he like tried to put her back in his life, and she sent him like snail mail, and it just was like a really, really sad situation. It's just never been good.
He's very even when he talks about the death of his father. Because obviously the death of his father was the making of him. It was the freeing of him when he was a young man of 19, I think.
Yeah.
But even now he doesn't say, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Like he's very measured about the sadness around it. But also part of the sadness would have been that they never had a relationship. I imagine I'm putting this onto Sam.
Yeah.
And he says at the dinner table, talk about not being open. He completely displays everything about himself when he says, he's now married to Doug, I think, and he's happy for the first time in his life. He thought he was happy, but he in fact was just living, and now he's happy. All said in a very steady, calm way. And I thought, what a beautiful gift to give the other 2 people in the room and us all just to speak in that fashion. Oh, love him.
It's
love him. I love all 3 of them.
So Phil then talks about how they will all ultimately protect themselves, which makes sense. There's no teams anymore. Like there is an alliance to a certain extent, but that's not a team. Like Phil's not going to lay down for Sam. Sam's not going to lay down for Phil. Mai's not laying down for anyone. And like they talk about how good the dinner is because it's steak and scallops. I'm like, oh my god,
surf and turf.
Yeah,
surf and turf. Don't you have surf and turf in America?
Yeah, of course you do.
Oh,
but like it's just like, oh my god, steak. I love steak. Scallops also. Oh my god, it's just like, like if you're good. Like oh my god, they're just so good. If you ever want to make
Phil's loving the sauce.
Yeah, I mean, how can you not? So then we get a little bit interesting them just talking about their lives because apparently they haven't done that really yet. So Phil talks about being born in Brazil, moved to New Jersey, and then moved to Hawaii where they do scuba diving. Sam talks about being born in Idaho with a religious family. Took a while learning he was gay and learned that he was no longer welcome, so moved to Texas and found love, and then moved to Florida. Mai brings up that she was born in Vietnam, was a refugee, Is a grandma, finished high school at 18 with a strict family, joined the Navy, got pregnant in the Navy. Family cut her off and had a rough time as a mother.
I think she only tells us about being pregnant in the Navy and being cut off. And I have my suspicions about how she got pregnant as well. She said she didn't know anything. So that's tough. That's tough, that rejection, because she cried, and I don't think she would have cried. In my memory, she was just telling us, because I don't think she would have cried in front of Sam and Phil.
It's also a lot to reveal on someone like right before something.
Yeah.
You know, like they know something's going to happen.
Yeah. No treat without a trick.
Yeah. So there's like cute banter from the three of them. It's kind of like friendly banter, but definitely a little bit guarded. And then, of course, a guard appears to walk towards the middle, and the voice says 3 will become 2. And then that guard reveals underneath a tray 3 buttons: a circle, a triangle, and a square.
Of course.
One of the buttons will turn green, and that person gets to goes to the final and chooses who they're in the final 2 with. Gray, there's no consequence. Like, you're just good. Like, you just, nothing happens. Red means that you're out.
Eliminated.
So they must decide.
After your lovely scallops and steak.
I mean, still a lovely meal. Still a lovely
meal.
Just, the dessert's a little bit rough. That it happens like that. Not everything is a perfect meal. Dessert can be rough. So they start deciding they must decide who will press the button first. And Mai wants to go. Really
she
bad.
Really does. And she's correct, because you got a 1 in 3.
Yeah. And like she actually volunteers.
Well, it's you have a 2 in 3
That's
of getting something good. Yeah. It doesn't mean if you get a gray that you're guaranteed to go to the end. But it means
you still have your life. You still have your life in the game. Like like there's a chance that you're gonna make it. Like red is bad, green is great, gray is fine.
Fine. And she interestingly holds back. She doesn't immediately say that she wants to. She waits till the others demur, and then she kind of faux reluctantly volunteers.
Yeah. Because she wants to be in control.
Yes.
And Sam and Phil don't really care. Yeah, sure, go. So Mai presses the triangle right there in the middle, and it blinks. And like it goes on and off, on and off.
Producers.
On and off, for so long.
Too long.
And then gray.
Gray. Who would she have taken, do you think, if she got the green button?
I think she would have chosen Phil.
I think she would have chosen Phil too.
I think she would want someone, because also like it's like that thing of like, if I can't win, I want the person to win to be someone I'm close with.
Yes, I think that Phil is guaranteed final 2 as long as he doesn't volunteer to press a button, and I think he knew that. Mm-hmm. Because either Mai will take him or Sam will take him.
Mm-hmm.
So he just has to not press a button.
So Phil and Sam are trying to decide who will be next. They both have
Don't do it, Phil. Don't do it. Don't do it, Phil.
And Sam talks about how he wanted to stay in the middle of the pack. And he's done a really good job with that. Like, that's really good. But he knows now is his time. He has to stand up and, like, be the leader he wants to be. So he volunteers. He chooses square.
Which is on the right.
Yes.
And on my theory, he should have chosen the left, but there we go.
It felt like it also, I was watching it too. Like, honestly, like I turned off all my notifications. I muted tweets for like until I was watching the episode. I'm like,
I was completely unspoiled. Well, I sort of watched it almost immediately. So yes.
I mean, I couldn't watch until like 2.5 hours after the episode aired, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it was that thing of like, it felt the way the shot looked. With the voiceover, when they start talking about it, like, because your eyes naturally start with the circle.
Yes.
And it's like one of the buttons is green, one of the buttons is gray, one of the buttons is red. And that's like how it was shot. Wow, I know way too much about like how to read things in film. But so he chooses square.
Square.
And it blinks on, off, red. And he is so sad in that confessional.
He's tears.
He's crying. Yeah. He is crying, and he's gone. And Phil's crying, and they say that they feel like a coward at this point. And both
Mhm.
Mike and Phil start crying and hugging, and it's like both like that happy, sad cry. That
And relieved.
uh-huh.
I mean, I think Phil, if they say that they're a coward, it's because they knew not to go and press a button, and they didn't, because they know they are guaranteed final 2.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like you are right. Like, there's no way in hell they don't make the final
There's
two.
no world that Phil doesn't make the final
I
2.
even say like even
As long as he doesn't press a button. As long as he doesn't press a button.
I even say like if you swap out like Mai and Hallie or Sam and Hallie, I think Hallie still chooses Phil.
Yeah. Yeah, his social game is unparalleled. I'm sorry,
People,
their social game is unparalleled.
yeah. So they're crying, they're hugging, they like they go back to their separate sides of the room, and Phil reveals that their fly was down all night.
That is the best moment of the finale.
Oh God, by far, 100%. Um,
So good.
the piggy bank lowers down, and they get closer to it, and they look at it.
I said, "Should we go and visit it?" It's like, "Yes, go and
Yeah,
look.
look at your
Go and
money.
look. That's your
Look at the
money."
money. And then like that's the end of the night. And the next day they wake up in their
I mean,
tuxedos.
how do they sleep?
I think I would probably get if this game like took 2 weeks, I think I would probably get 18 hours of sleep in 2
Well,
weeks.
you can tell us at the end of season 2.
Well,
But they do film them before the lights come on, and they both look like they're asleep, but it's that thing of you fall asleep in the early hours.
yeah. And they're in the tuxedos, and they're told to go into the game hall. And Sarah, it's so weird. So that like stairway hallway with only 2 people in it.
Our
It's
last look at the Escher staircase.
I love it. Like I love it so much. It warms my nerdy little heart. I love that type of stuff.
Phil thinks it's going to be some version of Squid Game, and I must say I just assumed so as well, because in the next time on at the end of 9, we'd seen the Squid Game pattern being drawn out in
Yeah.
light on the sand. So I was like, "Yeah, Phil, yep, I'm sure you're right."
And the thing is, though, like I don't think the Squid Game itself is that well known in the West that it would work unless they like made it a little bit dumbed down.
Well, if you're on Squid Game, you should have been practicing Squid Game.
100%. But
And
like
I'm telling you, Phil practiced Squid Game 100%.
I hope they also practice what it ended up being. Uh, but so like they go in the room, it's the Dalgona room, and yeah, you see lights that you did not realize were there turn on, and it is the Squid Game set that you see all over the show, everywhere. It's iconic. And it looks really cool, like what
So
happened, like
cool.
how it lights up.
So cool.
And there's like I don't know, like 8 guards in the room, right? Like it's not like too many guards, but there's enough guards to be like lots of guards. And they're told to play rock, paper, scissors.
I gasped out loud. I gasped at the
I also do, yeah.
simplicity of it. I thought sheer brilliance. Now I know you don't agree with me because we did talk, pre-show,
Mhm.
but to me, the simplicity of this,
So
and there is
yeah,
still skill in it. It's a game of skill.
what? Yeah, no, I agree. I do agree. I
I
feel
thought it
like
was going to be 1 round, which was what also made me gasp. But of course, it was better than just being 1
I
round.
will say this, like that's
Yeah,
I think it went on too long for
I agree.
viewers.
I completely agree. I
That was my
completely
biggest issue because
Yeah,
like this starts at like minute 27
mhm.
and it goes on till like minute 35.
Yeah, yeah. It was. I
It's a
agree. It was
lot.
too long. Yeah, I agree. It was
It's a
too long.
lot, and there's like a lot of editing to cut things out because basically what happens is they do rock paper scissors shoot. They show it because they do it behind the back, which I think is really smart. And then they show it, and then if you
And the
win,
voice says, your choice is locked. So there's no.
yeah,
Yeah, so they can just bring it out. And Mai talks about the psychology of playing rock paper scissors against adult men. I thought, wow.
I know,
All I
I
know,
hate it. It was
all I know
right. It's right
is
for me.
if you play rock paper scissors against an adult man, the first thing you have to shoot is paper because most of the time they will shoot rock.
I do like. I always do like rock or scissors. Like that's 100% real for me. Um,
And now that you've noticed, you'll notice that you do rock more
it's just
often.
like right when it happened, I was like, God damn it. Okay.
Yes.
Uh,
And the montage seems to indicate that she wins a lot more rounds than Phil does.
well,
At this
she's
point, I'm still thinking that Phil, who you, Mark, me, Sarah, and Valencia all selected at the end of our last podcast as our winner. So I was still thinking, wow, it's amazing. Mai wins far more of the rounds. But if you win a matchup, you go to get a key, you take it over to the safe, and you try and open the safe. And they were getting down and down and down the keys, which was incredible.
and there's like 30
And
keys to start, probably at
yes,
least.
yes.
And
So I
like
thought,
you
oh,
see at least 15 keys go
yeah,
in.
I see too many.
You
But
see so much. Like
I
honestly, this
did like the
episode's
drama.
like okay. So like my issue is not rock paper scissors. My issue is like how much they showed us of it.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
Like I think I do like the fact that everything in Squid Game is in theory easy, but it's just
None of it is strength based. None
which
of it.
is so smart on the producers of the challenge version of it,
Yes.
which we'll be talking about that in a second. But like, yeah, like it's like that funny thing of like she just gets it and understands how Phil is playing. And she keeps winning the most. And then eventually, it's also funny. Everyone, so as to my rewatch of it this episode today, my fiance, like who has not watched any Squid Game, is not really into the idea of it, but is happy that I enjoy it. She watched like the last 10 minutes of the
She'll
episode.
be happy when you come home with 4.56 million.
Oh, 100%. And like a British accent because I went to England for
For
2 weeks
5
and
weeks. Yes.
learned how to do a worse. No. But so we just see constantly like keys drop. It's well shot. It just goes on 5 minutes too long. And it's just like Phil's just like disheartened. And then eventually Mai wins another round, and the camera follows her. And this is when I realized Phil's not winning this game.
She's winning. And did you notice her winning shoot?
It
It was
was scissors.
scissors
Yeah.
against his paper. So she really could read. And I mean, he admits it. He says, she's really got me because she was keeping track of everything he was. She deserves it. He deserved it. They deserved it as well. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So Mai wins. Instant crime. They're both very proud of each other. They're happy with the journey. And then the camera cuts. And we get it's the silliest montage. I love this.
It's so stupid, but it's the first time we've seen outside in, the entire time. They love the drones. They sent those drones up. Yep.
Last time we saw it outside,
It was
Starla was
night.
alive. Yeah.
And it was night.
Yeah. And this is all day shots, I think.
All day shots.
Or indoor.
Drone shots sweeping over the cities of the world. You know?
So we see like palm trees, beautiful outside. This well-built dude comes into frame, and you notice this Brighton, and you see him working out.
He
and
does push-ups. Thanks, Brighton. We needed that.
And then Trey, and we get Trey and Leanne. They're playing ping pong together.
Oh, yep.
And then we see Sam making.
She keeps saying to him, "Get out of my way," because they're playing doubles as a team.
Yeah. Oh, I love the show so much. And then we see like Sam making art, which looked like a teddy bear based. Which I'm like,
yeah,
cool.
it was a blue bear.
Yeah. And then we see TJ coaching, which I'm not shocked by, because that's what he likes to do. Then we get Chad going to work on a Vespa. But like he's like kisses his wife bye, and like it's just really cute.
Big bulky man on a Vespa, nothing better.
Love it. And then we see Felicia with her dogs.
Yes.
And then
I see they've got the very nice elevated eating dishes, which is very good for the dogs' digestion. Yes.
Because they're also big dogs too. Big dogs need that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we see Dr. Rick and his bees. We see
the bees.
I was like,
and we see the honey.
Oh,
he looks at the honey.
He's so happy.
He is so happy. And those bees missed him. You can tell. You can tell they missed him.
And then we see Steven and his family. It's like really sweet.
kissing. So
and
sweet.
then we see like it looked like all the people from Atlanta.
Ashley definitely
Yeah, like
having
Ashley was there,
drinks with the
but
girlies.
there's like 3 or 4. There was like 2 or 3 ladies from Atlanta this season, and
Right.
I
Well,
think I
there's
saw
4 ladies all together having cocktails, and I did
yeah.
stop and look, and I thought, well, I know that one's Ashley, the one that's
Uh-huh.
sort of centered in the frame. So
Then we get Phil scuba diving, and they look so happy their hair is sprayed
they
in,
look so happy.
and then we get our king Spencer eating
299.
eating food.
No, but first of all, he bakes the vanilla biscuits,
Oh, that's
and
right.
then
Yeah,
he
yeah.
eats the vanilla. And I thought, of course it's vanilla. No flavoring, no chocolate chip, no raisin even. Raisins are horrible. They're the devil's poop. But, at least put something, coconut. No, absolutely plain white vanilla biscuits that he pulls out of the oven
like
and
that,
eats happily.
like that sad, beautiful man that we
Sad,
love. I love
beautiful man.
Spencer. He's not
We
bad.
love 299.
I have bad stomach issues myself. I just like it was yeah. And then we get one of our absolute favorites, B.
Who you are going to invite onto the podcast.
Yes, we're gonna invite on the podcast. And she's like got like coffee in her hand, and it looks like she is on the river in
The
London,
Thames. She's
the
on the
Thames,
Thames.
and she's just like looking forward. Uh,
And smiling.
it's like she's happy.
She's
Uh,
recolored her hair. She's happy. She's
I
happy.
love
No
it.
reason not to be.
It's a cool like fruit punch color hair in my mind. Uh, and then we get Mai, who will
With
look
her glow up.
like a nice $4.56 million glow up. And then she goes like a bodega and goes to an ATM and you see 565,000.
That's her
And
balance.
then we get a cut. And it looks like something sinister is happening. We see the guards, we see things coming out. And then we see a person
At the noodle shop. Unknown person at the noodle shop.
and then a van pulls up and says, apply to season 2.
Yes,
Which would have been so much better if like 10 hours before they did not say season 2 is happening.
Yes. I didn't know. That was the first time I knew that there was a call for applications.
Was that because
I
of timing? Like
I was unspoiled.
well, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like literally at like 2 p.m. Eastern time, I started seeing tweets being like, hey, apply to Squid Game. I'm like,
yeah, no, I stayed off Twitter. And also I watched Survivor and then immediately watched Squid Game. So
Yeah.
and kept off Twitter for both of those shows. So it ends with the unknown person from the noodle shop waiting for the van. So then, Mark, you and I both went back to episode 1 and looked at the opening of episode 1. And waiting at the roadside was Chad, Jackie, Rick, Phil, Queen Starla.
We love Starla.
Trey and Leanne, TJ, Steve and his friend, who died immediately in his friend who was the only reason he went on it, who died immediately in Red Light, Green Light, and Felicia. Amazing.
Like a beautiful full circle moment. I love it. It just
loved it.
It's so great.
Oh, so good.
Now, you mentioned to me this last night, and I immediately agreed because we didn't feel like this recap would be done if we didn't talk about the documentary that Netflix released also with this. It's not long, it's informative, and it's very interesting. We're not going to talk long about it. It's not going to make 30 minutes. It's a 30-minute documentary. Probably talk like 10 minutes about this, I imagine. I'm not sure.
But if you don't want to hear us talking about it, this is the last thing we're going to talk about before we give our plugs. So, yeah.
Thank you for following.
Thank you.
At _podcast.
See yourself out.
Yeah. Barbara Seville starts playing, right?
Yes.
So yeah, let's talk about this documentary. Oh my God.
Well, I had listened to, and I recommend to everybody, I think in our first or second episode of ours, that you listen to a podcast. It's called You Can't Make This Up. And it's Rebecca Lavoie talking to the makers of various documentaries that are on Netflix. And the interview that she had with 2 of the creators is fantastic. The podcasts are only like 20, 25 minutes long. And it's not instead of this making of, but is a very nice companion to the making of. So that's You Can't Make This Up podcast. Rebecca Lavoie talking to the creators of Squid Game, the challenge.
Which is awesome.
But we also recommend this. Well, I certainly recommend this making of. It should have been 3 times as long. That would be my only critique.
100%. Like, it's so informative and so interesting, but like, I just wanted more of what it was. Like, I feel like we get a lot of them realizing the importance of what this is and how they want to make it fair.
The reverence for the original document. So my favorite moments were when the creator of Squid Game was brought onto the set and walked around in his green tracksuit.
Yep.
And he was just like so pleased. And the reverence they had for the original work was very evident. And the other thing that stood out for me was when they talked about the village that you go to play marbles, that everyone would recognize it, and how they had meticulously recreated the smallest props. And the prop master and the designer were saying, like, even if nobody notices, we know. So they'd looked frame by frame at the original, and they'd put like a tricycle in there and pots and various things. And then we had a little bit of a close-up of the set decorators and the scenic artists' work, which, if you don't know I'm sure you all know what a scenic artist does, but so if you have a pair of door handles and you want them to look aged, they will paint the age onto them. So they are the ones that make the set look real and lived in. And I love their idea that everything's so clean and geometric, and then suddenly you get into this chaos of where marbles is going to be. So I really loved that. And I also loved that they didn't say how they did the glass bridge. They talk about the building of the glass bridge, the thinking about the glass bridge, that soap glass is as dangerous as real glass, so they couldn't use that. But they didn't go quite as far as to tell us exactly how it was done. And I thought, yes, keep some secrets.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things I found the most fascinating is like whenever I hear about this is just straight up talking about like what I've heard about where like really how it took not 5 minutes but like somewhere between 7 and 9 hours, and this like gives you like a real understanding of why it took so long, because they're being so meticulous with this amazing technology to make sure that they were able to be fair to everyone and like spot actual movement and make sure like the process of it, and like also like the fact that that was shot in one of the largest sound stages in England is so cool.
They made zeppelins in there, which tells you how big that building is.
And like I just thought it was like really cool, like seeing all the testing that they did.
I loved all the tests. Yeah, yes, all the team tester, and they were wearing tracksuits, which was hilarious.
Yeah, like I love when they decided that not to use sand in red light, green light, but use a carpet so it doesn't mess up the actual
motion sensors.
Like movements and stuff like that. Because sand alters camera looks, like
yes.
Also,
so they had a carpet that looked like sand. Brilliant.
Also, like the squid color, like the color for the squibs was so cool. Like them figuring out, like, because they did try red, they tried pink, they tried all that stuff.
Purple. There was a wonderful purple that I thought, that would be great. How they had to soak the t-shirts in vinegar for 24 hours and then wash them twice, otherwise the ink didn't come through. The detail, and then I love the time lapse of them making the huge sets. So you saw all the what we call taller scopes. Some people call them cougars, the little like a cherry picker, but that's used in theatre and technically. So you saw them whizzing all around the space. They talked about the making of the Escher stairs and how that worked.
That looked so cool how they did that. Like it didn't look like there was that many green screens involved in that. Like there were, but like you're not like it looked more practical than the show did.
Yes.
I also loved how you called that they were that the guards had choreography. And like they had a choreographer come in to make sure they all moved the same. It was great.
Yes. And I really noticed because we've been thinking about this, I really noticed how they're all the same height. So I think they were cast by height. But they 3D printed the masks. They 3D printed the big girl from Red Light, Green Light.
I also love that the care and detail to like the tiles and the beds that they had like customized the size of the beds, and make sure it was all safe.
I love
For
that thing
something
of
like
there's no manual on safety in a 5-story bunk bed, so they had to
all
make their own manual.
and, like, the care, to make sure Dalgona was amazing, like, how they were like, "Okay, if this type of if we use starch, it gets harder," or whatever, and, like, or it's too
Mhm.
easy, and they're just like, "Well, what's the fairest way you can do it while it so it doesn't break immediately," also, like,
And how each stamp had to be exactly the same depth for fair.
oh,
I mean, they're constantly so anybody that critiques, "Oh, production interference and, oh, it's not fair," like, they're constantly every game have to think about fairness.
also, like, one of my biggest takeaways from the whole thing was how shocked they were with Roland saying, "We should do one jump at a time," and because they
Yeah,
were prepared for doing one person attempting
yeah.
17, one person attempting si yeah,
But they said they were always surprised by people gaming the game,
yeah,
and how delighted they were by stories that came out because that's not something that they can control, and how they had to be so careful with having all the cameras because if something happens and you didn't get it on film, it didn't happen.
because they had, like, 40 cameras, for, red light, green light, like,
Yeah,
positioned everywhere,
yeah,
and it makes sense because 'cause they're like, "Okay, whose stories are we gonna tell?"
yes.
Um, I loved it. It was just so
It's
it's a
really
good
worth your time.
yeah,
It's 30 minutes, and if you have enjoyed the show at all, but particularly if you have an interest in how things are made, if you like to take things apart and tinker, it's I mean, I say I wished it was longer, but it's actually perfect for a sort of general public,
yeah.
of which we are, view of just a sort of an overview of the working of all the different departments. And they talk to all the different departments. They talk to costume, they talk to the technical people. We saw the dream team testing the squibs, testing the biscuits, cookies, and all of that. But then when it came down to the tiles in the bathroom, they did change the bathrooms because there weren't enough sinks in the original.
Yeah.
But they had to send the tile. They had to get the tiles handmade in Italy to get the exact color.
The one thing I really wanted to know was where they shot the, dorm. Like, that was a giant, that giant stage next door
Yes.
or
Well, there
somewhere
were two. There were
like,
two.
'cause there was, like, the
As
2, like, giant barnyard stages, right?
Yes. So one had the dormitory because we also saw the dormitory from the outs like from the we're inside, but we're seeing it from the outside like a box,
Oh,
which was
really?
fantastic. Yeah, so you saw,
Oh, okay.
the
I didn't
dormitory sitting inside the hangar, at one point, which was great, and they didn't show it to us, but I'm assuming the game room is then in the other hangar, and they that the stairs were actually also a practical way of getting them, from one place to another.
it's so cool. I'm so happy the show happened. I'm happy the show,
So
like,
happy.
was good, and, like, well cast. Everything was just right.
Yes.
I'm of course, I'm a little bit sad that for me, episode 10 was a little bit boring, but overall, I think the outcome is fantastic.
Yes, they could
Um,
have just made it a shorter episode
yeah,
because, the second it's true of fiction as much as it is of reality television that the second to last episode, the penultimate episode, is the most exciting one,
uh-huh.
and the final episode is like, "Oh, yes, and this is the person that won." So they needed I think they could have just simply cut time out of the Rochambeau, and we would have got it, we still would have got it.
I mean, Survivor kinda messes with that rule a little bit 'cause I feel
Well,
like
it depends how many people are in the finale, right?
exactly, yeah,
If it's Australian Survivor, there's fewer people in the what's
right.
called the finale. Yeah, so what's gonna happen there? No, let's not switch it. Let's not switch. But yeah, Survivor's really good, everybody. You should watch it, even
Which
when the players are not doing what they should do.
and, like, Reindeer Game, Big Brother is happening, but don't watch that because
Don't watch
Cameron's a
that.
creep.
Big
Um,
Brother Australia, don't watch that.
yeah. Sarah,
Yeah.
this has been an absolute blast.
Oh,
How can people follow you and anything exciting coming up?
well, you can follow me at Sarah Carradine here on Silent Podcasts. I did drop a mid-season check-in on Big Brother Australia House of Love. Don't watch the show, but do listen to Annabelle and myself drag those whores to filth.
We love Annabelle.
And
We have to say one episode one time every episode.
she has to be
I'm a big
mentioned every
Annabelle fan.
episode.
Yep.
She's the reason that Traders Australia season 2 was only 5 episodes long. And
Justice for Luke
coming
also,
up,
right?
pardon?
Justice for Luke. Sarah only for
Just
4.
Luke's fine.
Looks good.
fine.
He's not
Looks
Annabelle
fine.
great, but he's
Yeah.
great.
And he's also got, he's got $500,000 from
Okay.
the Australian public from a GoFundMe. So she and I are going to talk about Teddy from The Amazing Race Australia Celebrity Edition, which we covered. We're going to talk about Teddy's time on Love Island. We were hoping to drop it this weekend, but it will drop on Monday evening Australian time, so Monday early hours of the morning American time.
Nice.
What about you, Mark? Where can the people find you until we have our interviews with the players?
I'm really trying hard to make that happen. You can follow me at MarkLevy85 on Twitter, Instagram. Been tweeting, been doing some TikToks, movie reviews on Movie Mark. If you want to follow that. Earlier today, I talked to the 4th place team in the Amazing Race America episode. They were fascinating to talk to, shed some light in the game in different ways. I don't fully believe, but that's
Exit interviews aren't canon, you know that.
They're not canon, but they had very nice hats. But another thing, Lego Masters finale is coming up tomorrow. Very excited. I'll be podcasting with Josh Kettles later this week, probably, and also very soon we'll be talking Lego Masters Celebrity Spectacular with Marshawn Lynch playing.
Oh my God!
It's so good. Like Rob Riggle is going to be in it. Kelly Osbourne. And if you're a fan,
Marshawn is my favorite American sports ball player. He's also one of the only ones I could actually name. But I'm
so excited to see that man.
I've loved him since
Lego.
Murder.
I'm so excited.
Yes.
Like the Celebrity Spectacular episodes have been fantastic. Like the first one with one of my absolute favorite players, Boone, in the American version. It was him and Robin Thicke, like the best duo of all time. And spoiler alert, Boone finally won, which is great. Granted, he now lives in Denmark and works for Lego, so that's even bigger win than anything. I could talk Lego all day long. People don't want to hear me talk about Lego right now. They want to hear me talk Squid Game. Yes, Sarah and I are going to try to talk to some players. I'm sure we'll both reach out to separate people or same. I don't care.
And Mark is going to apply to season 2, so we'll at least get stories from the trenches.
Yeah, that I can say off my without signing my without breaking my contract.
Well, don't break your NDA.
No, I want
people can hear us. You know that.
No, yeah. I mean, like, come on, everything.
Not even for the show.
Yeah, not at all. Sarah, this has been like absolutely a dream. Like, I really love podcasting with you and talking with you.
Thank you so much.
Always great.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys next time. And hopefully, if you see us in your feed, also like I said, follow at _podcasts everywhere. We had some great stuff. We just had Felicia Cannon exit deep dive exit of your 3+ hours with our dear sweet Isaiah and Josie Ann. And there's just a lot of really great content out there with everything that's happening on this channel. Sarah, this has been a blast.
All right. So bye, everybody. Stay squiddy.
Game. Bye.
Bye.